2.
Today, we are going to go over the custodial training meeting that was scheduled for February 15th of 2019. Now, remember that day we had the problem with the alarm systems in the building, so we had to move it a whole week? Well, this is one of those quarterly trainings that we are mandatory, that we have to have because we have to have a safety piece every quarter for you folks. So, without further ado, let's jump into our quarterly training meeting for February of 2019. So the first person that was up was Bud Boyd, talking about the collaboration of custodial and maintenance with the area maintenance. And we've actually decided to put this up as a separate PowerPoint. So this will be a separate piece, kind of an amendment to this training. So keep your eyes open for that. And then we had Greg Libecki, who did a wonderful presentation on a new efficiency plan. And basically what this is, it's to get us to be a little bit more observant and notice what's going on in our buildings. For example, and particularly the night custodians, keep an eye on sounds of running water, particularly. Things like a toilet or a urinal that constantly runs. That sends, not only does it waste a lot of water, but it sends a lot of water into the sewer system, and we get charged really high rates here in Salt Lake City for the sewer, for water going into the sewer. So it's very important to, if you have any leaks, if you have any running water that shouldn't be running, make sure that you get with the head custodian. First of all, try and shut it down if you can, but if you can't, make sure you get with the head custodian and get a work order in for that, because that will save quite a bit of money over a very short period of time. Also, making sure that we're turning off lights when we're not in certain areas. I know you don't think it's a big deal, but actually every little bit adds up to a lot of money, and that was one of the things that Greg said. For example, as you come out of the custodian's office and you're not going to be there for a while, turn off the light. As you go through different areas of the building, if you can shut down lights in certain areas, do so. These ideas of having the gym and the cafeteria run basically from 6 in the morning till 9, 10 o'clock at night, there's times when they're not occupied and they should just be shut down. So by doing a few little things to help us become more efficient that way with energy, it will save the district some money. When I say it'll save us some money, we'll still pay about the same amount of money because the rates continue to go up. But here's the thing, if we can be more efficient and more observant and show the district that we can be a team player in saving money, okay, and saving money on these utility bills, there's a really good chance that they'll be more open to letting us use things like air conditioning. Yeah, it's just that simple come summertime. So think about that. Think about how if we can save money in one place, how it could be possibly used in other places that it's really needed. So next slide, on to snow removal. Let's talk about new expectations. So we've, in our trainings, talked about how 24 hours after the end of a event, the walks need to be cleared. Well, yeah, that's kind of the city rule, but the new expectation that we have that's kind of come down from above here in the district is, look, if it's snowing outside and you've got people in your building or are about to have people in your building or leave your building, you need to be out there removing the snow. For example, it's snowing in the morning, you've got school's going to start, well, clear the walks. It snows during the day and school's going to be getting out, and once it gets out, of course, the kids are going to be all over that stuff. Well, before school gets out, if there's snow out there, get it removed to the best of your ability. Okay, get working on it. Now, for night custodians, it is a part of the night custodian's responsibility to help remove snow. Let me give you for instance. If it's snowing in the afternoon and it's getting close to time for the kids to get home, the night custodians need to help with the head custodian in getting things cleared so that the kids can safely get out of the building. And also so that any night activities can continue, the after school program, things such as that. Also, making sure that the snow is removed later in the evening so that the first thing in the morning, the head custodian doesn't come into this frozen tundra of snow. It makes a big difference if the night custodian can get out there and do some of that snow removal ahead of time. So if you have more questions on the particulars of this, just get with Ricky or myself and we can kind of help explain it a little bit better. But it's kind of common sense. It really is. We shouldn't have to be told when to get out and get on the snow. We should kind of be able to figure out that, hey, if I get on this as soon as I possibly can, it's going to either melt off anything else that comes in, or it's going to be easier for me to remove later. We had Chris Miller come talk to us a little bit about the collaboration with grounds and custodial, and the main message here was this. Look at this picture taken a few years ago at one of our schools, and our custodian had removed the snow on the sidewalk area. But in this particular picture, the person who was running the plow truck for grounds plowed the driveway right up against the curb. And so this is the turnaround. This is where the parents were letting the kids out. And of course, the custodian had already done this. So this was a real mess in this situation. Grounds is going to try to avoid doing those kind of things. It's very important that, however, that the custodian gets with the grounds folks that are doing his or her property and discuss where is the best place to put snow, where are the areas that are critical to have cleared, like this particular picture here shows. That would have been a very critical area to have cleared, and now the custodian has to go back out and work on that. Or if it gets frozen, then the grounds is going to have to come up with one of the big heavy pieces of machinery and dig that out. So Chris also reiterated that their priorities are, of course, the parking lots. That's number one. And the playgrounds, well, they're down the list a little bit. So if they remove the snow on the first day, probably count on the second day they'll be back to get the playgrounds and to get those salted. So anyway, if you have more questions about snow removal, get with Chris Miller. He can really help talk about how best it should be removed around your school, particularly around the dumpsters, places like that you just don't want to have plowed in. So anyway, if you have any questions, get with Chris. New hires. We went over the new hire checklist again because there's been a couple of little changes in it. One of them is this new Utah consent form. And one of the problems we've had is we've gone over this checklist time and time again, and we continually get the wrong paperwork, or we get out of date paperwork or incomplete paperwork. So Ricky really emphasized how important it is to follow this checklist and the new checklist and where it's located in the shared drive. Also, this new fingerprint form and how it is important once they fill that out and they turn the paperwork in. Now, this is for under 18, just so you know, this is for under 18 folks. But once they turn this paperwork in and we come out and do the orientation, the night custodian usually will be the one that will, with the sweeper, contact HR, and it's right there on the paperwork who to call and what the phone number is, and set up an appointment for them to be fingerprinted. If it's before 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they can contact Lucinda and come down to facility services and get it done. But most of those that are under 18 aren't going to be able to come until later in the afternoon, so they have to call HR and get that set up. So those were kind of the main things we touched on. Now also we have this new hire checklist on video form on our YouTube channel. It's been uploaded, so if you want to go through the checklist and understand what's on the checklist and what needs to be signed and all that kind of stuff, well, it is on a training now on the YouTube channel. Email communications. It's very, very important that we've covered this before, that you're checking your emails at least 3 times a day. When you get in on your shift, before you go home, and usually midday, mid-evening, so 3 times a day. We'll be sending out calendar invites and other promotional items, such as, hey, check the website, there's a job opening kind of thing. And the electronic signature, if you don't know how to set it up, contact one of us or contact the help desk and we can help you set it up. But how that electronic signature on your email just looks a lot more professional, and it's something that it's not required that we have, but it would be nice to learn how to do that if you don't know how to do it. It definitely raises our professionalism. Personal safety was something I talked about. Keys. Don't leave your keys, particularly your personal keys, laying around. I went into a building a couple of weeks ago after hours, and I found the night custodian's keys were sitting on the desk. Also, the Nextel, we call it the Nextel. The radio was sitting on the desk by the computer. And I thought, wow, what happens if somebody comes in through a skylight or something, or breaks a window and breaks in, and they take this person's keys? This person could be out the keys to their home. Their car could be stolen. This has actually happened before to one of our custodians. So it's just a really, really good idea to make sure your personal keys and any other keys you might have, your work keys, are either on your person or kept locked up in a safe place. Okay. Night lights. We talked about the night custodians making sure that they are checking the outside lights that are supposed to be on at night, make sure that they're working, and if they're not, that they get out there and get them changed as soon as possible. If they are a ballast issue, then get with the head custodian and get a work order in as soon as possible, because it really is a safety issue for the night custodians to be walking around these buildings outside in the dark. There have been some instances of some things happening in this past year, and all over the district. So it's just a very good idea as far as a safety precaution. And then finally, be observant. Notice what's going on around your building. Be observant as to the people that are coming and going, and sometimes you'll see certain patterns. You'll see a person walking a dog every night at the same time, or just different things like that. So anyway, being observant is being safe. There was a story told about the custodian from Granite District a few years ago who went to open up their elementary school one morning, and next thing you know, they found the person's keys and purse and phone by the car. But they found her body 6 months later out in the desert, and you just never know who's out there lurking around. I have to do investigations on the cameras quite often for different things. Sometimes it's as simple as seeing if the trash hauler is coming too early, because they're not supposed to be disturbing the neighborhood before a certain time in the morning. And sometimes I have to investigate that, but I'll kind of look through the cameras and I'll see weird looking people at all kinds of strange hours of the day and night. Particularly the middle of the night, 3 a.m. What's somebody doing walking around your building? So anyway, just being observant and trying to be safe are some things we really wanted to push home in this particular training. Ricky did a safety piece about fire alarms and power outages, and there was a handout. But most of what was on that handout is already in the shared drive. If you go to the shared drive and look in logs, and there's some other places, but all of this kind of stuff was there. Talking about the power outage protocol, how to check your neighborhood, see if it's the whole neighborhood's out or if it's just your building out. Um, just kind of being observant for down power lines. Maybe there's a down power line outside. And also, some of the buildings have a breaker that is actually out on a power pole. And just knowing where to look for that, and knowing whether or not that is, that is tripped or not. So that was one of the things that he covered. And then he talked about the fire alarm panel. Oh, pardon. That is in your building, and that we have different ones. Not every building is the same, but it's important that you find out how to reset it, and that you know when you're going to do a fire drill, that you call Peak Alarm, let them know you're going to do a fire drill, put things in test, make sure you call them afterwards and tell them that it's out of test, and check to make sure that they got a signal. Very important to make sure that they got a signal. So this was all on this checklist that Ricky went over. And again, this checklist can be found on the shared drive. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about real quick was false alarms. That it's important to have your sweepers, and even night custodians, it's important to check as you go around and see if you have anything dangling in a room. In the wintertime, a lot of the art projects you'll find are these beautiful little snowflakes that the kids do, and they're so proud of them. The problem is, as soon as there's any kind of air movement in that room, when the alarm is on at night or on the weekends, it will set the alarm off. So if they see anything dangling down from the lights or the ceiling, they should report that to the night custodian, and then the night custodian can check it out and determine whether or not it's something that should probably come down, or if they should just bypass it for that night, which is very possible. You don't want to be ripping down some kid's art project. I mean, come on. But you could bypass, in most cases, bypass that area or bypass that room for a night, talk to the head custodian the next day, or leave a note for the head custodian, even better, to talk with that teacher about the importance of not having those things where they can set the security alarm off. Because one thing that happens with the security alarm is the school district gets charged for false alarms. Yeah, if it's a legitimate alarm, legitimately somebody sets off the alarm, there's an intruder in the building, well, for whatever reason, we don't get charged for that. But if there's a false alarm, the district gets charged for each one of those. So it does cost the district money. Miscellaneous things, just real quick. Robin wanted to get updated contact numbers for all the day and night custodians, your personal phone number, in case he ever needs to contact you for whatever reason. So that was something that needed to be sent in to Robin, just kind of an updated phone number list. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that we had not undated. We undated our YouTube training. We updated our YouTube training. There is more trainings on there that I think we've got 3 in about the last couple of weeks. But there's some to do with team cleaning. There's new hire checklist. There's other ones coming. So, and this is going to be on there too. And then we just wanted to touch base on the rebuild timeline so that folks would understand that we have 2 schools being rebuilt, 2 elementary schools being rebuilt currently. And as soon as school closes on, June 6th, June 7th, as soon as school's out that day, there's going to be a lot of things happening to get the 2 old buildings ready for demolition, which they'll be demolished within 2 weeks of the end of school. and the new schools up and running. One of the things that will be happening to getting the new schools up and running will be we will be putting together a couple of crews to scrub and wax the floors in both of those buildings before they move all of the stuff over. So I've got the timeline. It's about the middle of June that they are planning on having us refinish those floors. So just wanted to update folks on all of that, that there will be some overtime possibilities coming with these new schools. And I think we've reached the end of our training today. So thanks for joining us, and we'll talk again soon. Here's the piece of the training that Bud Boyd put together for the quarterly training, and I will try and get through it as best as I can. So he's talking about work orders and what work orders are, the different levels that they are on. So level 1 is anything that is time sensitive, that's a safety issue, a security issue, an emergency, or to prevent further damage to a building. So that's level 1. That's kind of what we used to call emergency work orders. And then there's level 2, which is anything that's not a level 1 or a level 3. That makes sense. So I guess we should look at level 3. Level 3 are projects that take longer because of manpower may not be available, parts need to be ordered, things like blinds are that way. Something that's seasonal like concrete, you can't really do concrete when it's 150 degrees outside, and you can't do it when it's driving snow. Well, you can, but it's just not a great idea. Anyway, also level 3 is something that's high demand, production time. And also an access issue. Sometimes there are these work orders that have to happen when school is in session. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of what the different levels of work orders are. Now, level 1, which is, again, what we used to call an emergency, there are things like doors that are slamming really hard, because that can be a safety issue. That can get somebody's fingers or head. Not to stick your head in the door frame, but hey, it could happen. No, I think there's times I would like to put Ricky's head in the door frame. Yeah, anyway, I digress. Sharp protruding objects, that's pretty much a given. You don't want to be hurt by something like that. You don't want to get poked by something sticking out. Doors coming off the hinges, that can cause further damage to the building. So yeah, you want to get on that immediately. Faulty exterior door hardware, which of course we need to be able to secure our buildings. So that's definitely an immediate, that's got to happen quick. Trip hazards, again, that's a safety issue. Graffiti. Handicapped entrance problems, we have got to be able to be ADA compliant at all times. Broken playground equipment, of course the kids can get hurt with that, so yeah, we've got to get right on that. And broken handrails. So now a level 2, this is a better description of what level 2 really is. Things like paper towel dispensers, soap and lotion dispensers, painting, some of the smaller projects, door closures and crash bars that are not a level 1, signs or nameplates that go above doors or classrooms, carpet repair, having a white or a cork board installed in a classroom, bathroom partitions or lockers that need to be repaired or replaced, area maintenance items. That's level 2. So level 3 is things like large projects, painting projects, getting new carpet in more than a couple of rooms, cabinets. That takes some time. They're made here in the mill, so that takes some time for the mill to make them. They do a great job, but definitely if you put in for a cabinet, you're looking probably 4 months to get it done. Countertops are level 3, blinds, concrete because it's seasonal, remodeling, and then portable ramps, things such as that. And ceramic tile also takes some time, so that's a level 3 item. So work orders. Level 1, they want to really have those complete within 1 to 2 days because they are a high priority. The level 2 priority usually takes a week to 10 days, and the level 3 is ASAP, meaning, well, as soon as they can get to it and get it scheduled. So area maintenance. Area maintenance is important to us because it helps reduce the travel time normally required to complete work orders or items that require very little time. Very little time, such as door closers always come to mind with something like that, or door adjustments. Area maintenance reduces vehicle operation costs because they're not having to come out for every little thing. They can kind of get a whole bunch of little things at once. They allow us to turn around work orders much faster, and they help us achieve the goals, which is getting work orders done in a very timely manner, or quicker, getting to them quicker. And it does increase customer satisfaction because a lot of those little things are nagging things that we would turn in on work orders at some point in time, and it would take a lot of time to get to. You think, wow, this is a simple thing. It should be easy. So on to our next one, some examples of area maintenance items. There are things like hanging pictures, banners, and clocks. Can you imagine sending in a work order and having somebody come out just to hang a picture? And we've done that in the past, but it's so much easier to have on an area maintenance list. Things like coat hooks, minor repairs to restroom stalls, like the doors, the partitions, the hardware, minor adjustments or repair of cabinets and file drawer hardware, ceiling tiles that require cutting. Remember, our custodians should be replacing ceiling tiles that are complete tiles that they can get to and that they can replace. But if it requires cutting, that's something that the workman should be doing, and they can do this on area maintenance. Pencil sharpeners, that's something that if the custodian doesn't replace, can definitely be done on area maintenance. Loose cove base repair, that can be done on area maintenance. Door bumpers and minor adjustments to the door hardware, like I said, like the locks, the handles, the closers. So the original structure, no, I'm not going to pull the handout out here, but the original structure of area maintenance, there was 5 areas, 8 schools per area, 2 area maintenance per week per area. Once per month per school was pretty much it. I remember those days. I could plan on once a month I'd have area maintenance come by. And AMP assigned to an area for 4 months, then rotated to a new area. Yeah, so I'd have a different maintenance person from time to time. That was kind of annoying because the new one wasn't familiar with my building as familiar as they should be. No area maintenance done May 1st through August 31st. That's how it used to be because they were so busy during that time with all the capital projects that needed to be done in the summer. And custodians were no longer required to issue area maintenance work orders. Yeah, that wasn't a good deal. So the current structure of area maintenance, this is how things are now, and I think this is a great move. We have 4 areas, 10 schools per area. 1 area maintenance visit per month per school. Great. That's kind of a security and safety check. Make sure things like doors and whatnot are all working properly. All area maintenance work orders issued at the beginning of the month. Area maintenance work orders remain open the entire month. Area maintenance items completed can be added to the work order throughout the month. And an area maintenance work order must be closed on or before the last day of the month. So they keep this work order open in case some other little things crop up that you need to have taken care of during the month. An area maintenance person will be assigned to an area for 4 months, then rotated to a new area. Well, yeah, it does give the guys experience throughout the district, but again, yeah, they do get to learn all of the buildings. I get that. It was just really nice when I had the same area maintenance person all the time. And nowadays, area maintenance will be done year-round. So, woohoo, that's awesome. Even in the summertime, those little things can be taken care of. Okay, what are the area maintenance person's responsibilities? So this is a workman coming out to do area maintenance. They're supposed to notify the custodian when they expect to be at the school for area maintenance. So you should be getting a call or an email from your area maintenance person saying, hey, I'm going to be coming to your school. I expect to be there next week, kind of thing. That's the way it used to run as well many, many years ago. They're supposed to notify the custodian if they can't be there when promised. That's a very important thing, because I used to expect I'd have a list together of things I needed done, and if my area maintenance person didn't show up, well, yeah, I didn't get a call. And I would wonder, well, what happened? And I'd have to call the foreman to find out, well, when am I going to get this done? Oh, so and so is off, or whatever the excuse was. And I never did. I had to go chase it down. But nowadays, the area maintenance person is supposed to contact the custodian if they're not going to be there when promised. The area maintenance person will check the exterior doors, hardware, and the jams. That's part of what they do, just out of what their nature of their job is, because those are safety and security issues. And they're to adjust and repair any of those as needed. And then they check the bathroom stalls, the hardware for the doors and whatnot, and they adjust those and repair them as needed. They check the interior doors, the hardware and the jams. Again, this is a safety and security issue, and they adjust those as needed. Check for any other security and safety issues. Adjust and repair things as needed. Complete any items on the custodian's area maintenance list. Aha, there you go. Complete any outstanding work order while at the school, and ask the custodian to submit work orders for any repairs beyond the scope of area maintenance, which they quite often run into. Communication protocol. So in general, the area maintenance person should not seek out the principal. Okay, in general. If you have a question about an assigned work order, call your area maintenance person. If you have a question or just want to talk about a new or unassigned work order, call Bud. Let's just say call Bud. Don't call me, call Bud. If a night custodian issues a work order, this would be your high schools, please notify the head custodian and discuss the location and nature of the problem with them. Now, this has happened before where the night custodian has sent in a work order. The head custodian has no idea what is going on with that. The night custodian goes on vacation or is off sick or something, and the maintenance guys show up during the day. We're here to do this work order, and the head custodian has no knowledge of it. So again, that communication is very important. There is one special request here, and that is that we do not use WD-40 or PB Blaster, which I don't know what PB Blaster is. Hey, I just got a whistle. Isn't that cool? I guess my time's up, so I better hurry. But WD-40, it has paraffin in it, and if you use that on door locks, it gums them up. So we're supposed to use the Tri-Flow. I haven't purchased WD-40 for our department in a couple of years. So if you have WD-40, talk to your area maintenance guy, because I'm actually buying Tri-Flow for them to give you, and it's on our supply order as well. So if you have WD-40, when your maintenance guy comes around, just ask him, hey, can I give you this WD-40 and can I get some Tri-Flow? And they'll be happy to take care of that for you. They also use a product called Houdini, and they also use graphite in some of the locks. So anyway, do not use WD-40, use the Tri-Flow.